afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We are delighted to have one of our partners, Dynamicweb, joining us. Brad and Jasmine will be presenting on what's new in B2B e-commerce. And as a reminder, we are recording this webinar and we will post it to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And you can find our library under our resources tab on our website, Innovia.com. And we encourage you to ask questions during our presentation, so please feel free to type them into the questions box and we will get them answered at the end of our session. So now I'm going to turn it over to Brad to kick off our presentation.
Great, thanks Angie, and thank you all for joining us today to take time out of your busy schedule and learning about these trends that we've uncovered in B2B e-commerce. We sent out a survey to business leaders across the USA and Europe, specifically in B2B selling industries, to get their thoughts on what's new, what are their top goals, the top benefits that they're seeing after implementing e-commerce for a B2B scenario, and their future plans around e-commerce and how they plan to improve those and what's prioritized on the docket as they go forward and continue their e-commerce evolution. As Angie said, my name is Brad Vorbeck. I'm the marketing manager here at Dynamicweb, and I've got Jasmine and Leslie, our pre-sales engineer, with us today as well. And let's just take a quick look at the agenda. We're going to go through some common use cases in the for e-commerce and B2B companies. As I mentioned, the top future areas of investment, the use of sales-assisted selling, which was an interesting statistic that we pulled out of the survey, and the concept of PIM and how you can add that to your data map to improve your e-commerce experiences and how that helps particularly in a B2B world with complex products being sold across multiple channels. And then Jasmine will show us a quick overview demo of the Dynamicweb platform and some of the things we talk about today. So just so you have some background on the methodology for this survey, we did this in partnership with Sapio Research. So they conducted the surveys and pulled the stats together for us, and we were able to pull some key findings out of that. We surveyed 433 B2B businesses across the US and Europe, and there's an estimated 95% confidence level in the results that we received. So we are going to have a fully published version of this as a white paper in the near future, probably in the next few weeks. And so we'll be sure to supply that with Innovia so they can send that out to you as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's look at the key findings that we discovered from this B2B e-commerce survey. We'll start with one of the most important findings from the report, and it's sort of the overarching message of the survey results overall. And that is that e-commerce platforms are already delivering demonstrable value for B2B organizations. I think it's no secret that e-commerce has taken off in recent years, but I was surprised at just how many B2B companies are already employing e-commerce in some form, whether that's a B2B storefront, similar to a traditional B2C storefront that you might be used to, or whether that's in a self-service portal or maybe a custom ordering process that's done online. So as you can see by this chart, almost 2/3, 62% of B2B businesses are already employing an e-commerce or self-service portal today, at least from our respondents. And for those that do make use of e-commerce, the majority of their revenue is being generated from those online channels at 52%. So this rapid rise of e-commerce platforms and already becoming the key revenue driver for B2B companies that have adopted them should really serve as a beacon for those that haven't yet. I think it's clear that expanding online is bringing tangible results, either through adding a new line of business or just by optimizing existing ones. And so with e-commerce being the fastest growing sales channel today, it really represents the single largest opportunity for sales growth for B2B companies that have yet to adopt it. Of those who are not employing e-commerce or self-service portals today, an additional 42% plan on investing in it in the future. And so I think that if you take a look down the road, maybe in 5 years, the vast majority of businesses are going to be selling online, pretty much all retail and B2C, but by and large, the majority in B2B as well. And that means the contrast in customer experiences between companies that offer their products and customer experiences online versus those that don't is really going to be that much more obvious to the customer further down the road. And also the growth of B2B e-commerce has been fueled by the pandemic. Big shocker, I know. But with companies reporting a 33% increase in e-commerce sales today versus pre-COVID-19 on average. So I don't think that comes as a surprise to anybody, but it's just another factor that reinforces the growth of e-commerce. In most scenarios, I think this change will be permanent, and you won't see companies or customers that adjust to doing business online and then go and revert those processes the traditional way in the future. So I think this trend is really here to stay. So what exactly are B2B companies looking to gain from e-commerce? The two key benefits that stand out for the majority was the ability to provide better customer service and the cost reductions associated with increased efficiency, both cited at 31%. The advantage of better customer service is more pronounced for companies operating in 2 to 4 countries compared to those that sell in 5 to 10 countries. And that indicates that e-commerce portals can allow growing companies to match or even surpass the customer service standards of their larger rivals who might not be as savvy in their e-commerce strategy. And it could also mean that for more internationally established countries, the key value of e-commerce lies more in the efficiency gains. So increased efficiency was sought much more by larger organizations, 41% of those with 10,000 plus employees versus 22% of those with 20 to 99 employees. And that makes sense as the logistical complexity increases with scale. So the bigger companies have greater cost savings available to them that can be achieved by streamlining and automating these complicated processes. But overall, a wide range of benefits were given significant weighting in the responses. We had 30% identify with 24/7 sales as the most valuable benefit, so just under the 31% of the top two. And improved forecasting helps 26% as the top benefit. And reduced burden on sales representatives is a significant 25% as well. And from the buyer side, e-commerce platforms offers a range of benefits, like for manufacturers, wholesalers, or distributors. Specifically, almost half, so about 46 and 44%, say that the two main distributor advantages of having an e-commerce portal are the ability to manage orders 24/7 and the ease of doing business. Round-the-clock order management becomes even more important as company size increases. That's due to the logistical hurdles of a larger customer base, like we mentioned on the previous slide, and the potential to be working across different time zones as well. 62% of companies with 10,000 plus employees identified this as a key benefit versus 34% of those with 100 to 999 employees. And this ability to continuously log, track, and process orders from across the globe provides a significant advantage in terms of smooth fulfillment and positive customer experiences overall. An additional benefit commonly identified by distributors included better negotiated pricing at 32% and also improved dealer to OEM relationships as well. So from the buyer's perspective, the ability to negotiate better pricing is really due to the more accurate real-time forecast that e-commerce platforms allow them to share with suppliers. So making it easier to demonstrate exactly how much of a product will be required and when, while alleviating the need for suppliers to sift through multiple spreadsheets or faxes to access this information, reduces the burden on suppliers and consequently facilitates a more favorable dealer for distributors. And it allows distributors to be more nimble by decreasing the likelihood of ordering too much stock from suppliers and being bogged down with associated storage and maintenance costs of that. And our findings make it clear that despite the prevalence of e-commerce platforms in B2B, they aren't being used entirely to replace the sales assistants. In fact, they become a vital tool to augment the sales professional's capabilities. Over half, 54%, already use their e-commerce portal for sales representative assisted selling, while a further 29% intend on introducing this in the future. And this makes sense because offering customers that personal touch and multiple touch points can be really important in B2B, as they can interact with, they have different levels of interaction throughout the purchasing process, and some really require that more guided approach with a sales rep. And so it's particularly valuable in a B2B context where products and services are often more complex, and where sometimes it may be most effective just to speak with a person through the process, while allowing that the same benefits that you get from e-commerce with visibility of your orders, real-time order placement and fulfillment, but with a sales rep there to make sure everything is running smoothly and that you can commit to whatever price is agreed to. Looking at the customer experience in particular, the top 3 areas of improvement that B2B organizations plan to prioritize over the next 3 years included expanded payment methods, loyalty programs, and assisted selling, all highlighted by 30%. So from feedback we've heard from our own customers, loyalty programs and tailored promotions actually played a large role in increasing the sales volumes. And that's a clear example of best practices that work in traditional B2C or retail scenarios being successfully emulated in a B2B environment. And that is something that wholesalers and distributors, where you have a product that can be sold maybe in a classic retail storefront, are really taking advantage of. They're leveraging the familiarity with e-commerce that's already there, and those psychological aspects like customer promotions or limited time promotions really play a major role in the ability to upsell and generate more revenue from the existing client base. E-commerce portal usage is also clearly linked to a much larger shift in the operational models of B2B organizations. 45% of businesses currently sell products to end users, at least from our respondents, via a direct-to-consumer model. And among those that don't already, a further 41% have plans to start doing this in the next 1 to 5 years. And if these projections become a reality, the vast majority, in fact, 86% of B2B companies could be using this model by 2027. So that lends further credence to the argument that e-commerce presence is more than a growth opportunity for B2B businesses. It's really a prerequisite to keep up with competitors and catch early adopters of the new business model methods and trends. The birth and growth of online shopping has sparked the initial boom in D2C companies, but it seems that e-commerce platforms could be the catalyst for the next wave of this evolution. Of the companies that currently sell D2C, more than 54% also use an e-commerce or self-service portal, compared to just 30% that don't. And this disparity indicates that e-commerce is a key link in a process that can revolutionize the way B2B companies operate, massively simplifying their logistics, reducing their manual business processes, and really increasing their profit margins by being able to sell directly to customers. 63% of companies currently offer customers the ability to conduct e-commerce transactions through their mobile device, but this increases to 80% among those that are currently using e-commerce or self-service portal. So in this age, workers are far less likely to be found parked at a desk than traveling across the various locations and conducting business on the go. And so this purchasing via mobile could be the difference between receiving an order and not receiving an order. And our findings suggest that companies which recognize the future of B2B transactions will be mobile are also the ones that are a step ahead with e-commerce in general. So looking to the future for future investment plans, how do companies expect their e-commerce and portal usage to develop going forward? The short-term outlook was very positive, with the majority at 52% expecting an increase in their spending this year based on their investment plans. A further 26% expect their investment level to stay the same, and only 8% were predicting a decrease in their e-commerce investment. These joint most popular reasons that B2B companies give for planning additional investment are reducing the costs of doing business, improving customer satisfaction. And this is consistent with the most popular overall benefits of e-commerce that we saw, respondent select, so adding further weight to those insights. So let's take a look at adding product information management to the data map. There's a strong correlation that we found between B2B organizations that sell via online marketplaces and those that use e-commerce self-service portals, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Those that are leveraging their own e-commerce store are also most likely leveraging other e-commerce platforms such as Amazon or Walmart. Overall, 44% of B2B companies make use of online marketplaces, but more interestingly, 60% of online marketplace users do so alongside their e-commerce or self-service portal. In terms of specific platforms used, Amazon is currently the most popular by far at 63%, followed by eBay at 41% and Walmart at 26%. The advantages of Amazon or marketplaces offer in terms of global popularity and extensive international presence are clearly shown here, with 71% of the platform users who sell in 5 to 10 other countries are using it, compared to 48% to those who only sell domestically. And as online marketplace adoption increases across the B2B space, especially in terms of creating and managing a presence across multiple locations, so does the difficulty and demand on resources in terms of updating that product information across all your different selling channels. E-commerce portals can hugely ease this burden by allowing for this data to be inputted and synchronized in a central repository, which vastly reduces the time spent manually updating this information across channels, specifically a PIM component in an e-commerce environment. So looking at the investment plans for product information management, which is also called PIM, it's a relatively new area of e-commerce that's attracting high levels of interest from an investment perspective. 54% of B2B companies plan on investing in a PIM to manage product information, while a further 14% already have one in place. And when looking exclusively at those organizations with self-service and e-commerce portals, the percentage of PIM users rises to 71%. Again, a clear link between e-commerce strategies and further integrating with other technologies to complement each other. And this suggests a lack of awareness about the benefits of PIM overall. In fact, our research bears this out. The lack of familiarity is the main reason organizations gave for not looking to invest in PIM. And that was almost half of the companies that responded cited that. And so that graph isn't shown on this slide, but it'll be included in our full report, which will be published soon. So what is PIM, or Product Information Management? PIM is a purpose-built solution for managing all your product information from one place and publishing it everywhere. So it provides workflows and a structure to make it easy to consolidate from different sources, enrich your data, validate your product data, and then push it out to any channel it needs to be consumed on, even offline channels like print catalogs. So if you don't have a PIM solution today, your business likely has its product information stored in various sources. You may get your ID number from your ERP system, while you have other details and specifications often stored in Excel sheets or Word files that aren't centralized in one place. You're receiving constant product updates from suppliers, and digital assets are probably stored in one or multiple folders. And so with a PIM, you can bring all of this information from those different sources into one place, all tied to your master products in your ERP and your pricing in your ERP, and then pushing that out to your different channels. Many companies have different roles who are responsible for certain aspects of the product knowledge. And so PIM provides that collaborative workspace for each role to enrich their portion of the product information. And they have their own workflows and controls and dashboards to facilitate that and make it efficient and scalable. And as I mentioned, you can push all of your product information to your relevant channels in whatever format is required. That could be a simple XML format, or it could be something custom to the channel you're selling on. And there are tools out there that we use called Channable and Channel Advisor that really make it easy to link up directly to the sales channel, such as Amazon. that you're selling on, and even bring those orders back into your e-commerce to record in one platform. So ultimately, PIM improves the efficiency for your employees as they manage this data and the product updates across all your selling channels. And it also increases conversions because poor product data and poor product experiences lead to poor conversions. Excuse me. E-commerce portals also improve the customer experience by providing additional, potentially more convenient channels for them to order through. Email is still the most common channel in which organizations receive orders, followed by phone, but sales representatives and e-commerce portals provide a very significant number of orders at a joint third, 25%. So with PIM integrated with your e-commerce platform, you can offer your customers or partners all the necessary product information and assets they might need right in their portal, so they'll always have access to the most up-to-date product catalog and specs. So taking a look down the road at the future of e-commerce, it's clear from our research that the benefits of B2B e-commerce portals are wide-ranging and ever-expanding, with better customer service and increased efficiency being the most valued. E-commerce portals are being used to enable sales-assisted selling in B2B environments, building on the traditional approach, and they also facilitate online marketplace trading, allowing companies to maximize the return on that growing trend and the notion of being omni-channel, your products being found wherever a customer may be shopping. The popularity of e-commerce portals is also explained by a broader shift towards D2C for manufacturers, with platforms acting as a key facilitator for this. And so clearly the implementation of e-commerce portals offers many positives and pretty few negatives for B2B organizations. It's really a win-win, reflected by the fact that the spending is likely to increase next year for many B2B companies already employing it, and specifically in the area of product information management, where data control and accuracy are particularly valuable. 24/7 access for customers was another key factor in e-commerce portal success, as it facilitates keeping up with customer expectations and improving the customer relationship. And on the supplier side, organizations are also seeing value of better relationships coupled with better prices and a general ease of doing business. So looking ahead, the prospects for B2B companies with savvy e-commerce implementation are looking pretty bright. So just a recap of some of those key findings we discussed. 62% of B2B companies are already using e-commerce or self-service portals today. And of those, they're generating more than half their revenue from those online channels. 52% expect to increase their e-commerce spending over the next year based on the success that they've seen and the trends that they'd like to go after. 67% of B2B businesses also sell D2C or plan to start in the next 5 years. 54% of those use their e-commerce portals for sales-assisted selling, which was a strong trend in the B2B world. And also 54% plan on investing in product information management. And in a different study that we cited in a different presentation, the investment of PIM over the next 7 years is globally is expected to quintuple what it's at today. So clearly you need to manage omni-channel product strategies using a PIM solution. So I just want to talk a little bit about Dynamicweb before I hand it over to Jasmine for a quick demo. We are a modular platform that specializes in the complex nature of B2B business. So we enable e-commerce for not just B2C companies, but B2B companies that may have a custom ordering process, or maybe their B2B environment is better suited for a portal and not a classic B2C storefront. So we can enable any of those scenarios and really configure the purchasing process for your customers to meet their unique needs, and even bring in different stakeholders as needed. So we specialize in B2B ordering and self-service portals, as I mentioned, B2B and B2C e-commerce, no matter your product complexity. And we have a built-in product information management module. So pretty much all e-commerce platforms have some way of storing a limited amount of product information that can be used to feed your store. But we have a full-blown true PIM solution built in. which allows you to do that, plus distribute that product information to your product catalogs, your third-party marketplaces, and what have you. We also have a built-in content management system, which is 100% customizable. So whatever you want your e-commerce or website experience to be, you can make that happen. But it also includes a visual editor, so a no-code or low-code development platform that allows business users to actually bring their designs to life, or maybe create new pages as needed without having to consult a developer to do so. And then unique to Dynamicweb compared to other e-commerce platforms is our built-in email marketing module. So right there where you have your data about what customers may have purchased in the past, what pages they visited and for how long, or other demographic details perhaps from your CRM. It's all readily available right in the Dynamicweb platform to be able to automate your email campaigns and personalize your email. So from an architectural perspective, this diagram kind of shows that at a high level. You see Dynamicweb suite there in the middle with our e-commerce, PIM, content and marketing modules together, all available with personalization features across the board. Even our CMS has personalization built in. So if somebody has bought a certain product, perhaps the next time they come to your homepage, they see a row with a special promotion around that product category, or maybe your products or all your homepage is designed around that theme that they've purchased in the past. And this is all built on our development platform. So as I mentioned, it's 100% customizable. If you have a development team that wants to make changes, they are certainly capable of doing so, but also your business users are empowered to take this and run with it as well, and just simply bring new ideas to life or prototype new ideas easily. So we pull this data that Dynamicweb uses from your ERP and CRM, so your core sources of truth here, and other data sources as well. So we can pull those customer details, that purchase history and sales orders, and anything else in your ERP and CRM into the Dynamicweb environment, where it feeds that 24/7 personalized e-commerce experience, that order visibility, the ability to pay invoices, really anything related to e-commerce. We can pull that in with your ERP and create that scenario for your customers. Same with products. We tie to your master products or your product IDs in your ERP system so that that always stays consistent. And your email marketing as well, being able to pull in that ERP and CRM data about your customers and use that to personalize your emails, or even trigger emails based on certain actions that are taken. For example, abandoned shopping carts. That's a very common automated email campaign provided in e-commerce. And so on the right there, we take all of these experiences in the Dynamicweb suite and that data that we pulled from your core solutions, and all the data that's enriched in Dynamicweb as well, such as your product information, adding as many fields as you need to your products, and even your digital media assets for those like images and videos, bringing that all into Dynamicweb, and then we push that out to your different channels. So that could be your e-commerce store on your website. That could be a dealer portal that's different from your e-commerce store, but still available on the same platform and managed from the same platform. It could also be your email marketing, so using products or purchase history in your email marketing. And obviously those third-party marketplaces, as I mentioned, such as Amazon, but even your documents. So creating a product catalog or an updated sales sheet in real time simply by downloading it on the website and fueling it with your most up-to-date information from your e-commerce and PIM. So just taking a look at how we integrate into ERP and CRM, we don't embed ourselves in the ERP solution, which is a best practice nowadays with the API first approach. Our e-commerce platform is separate and sits outside of your ERP solution. So no customizations are needed to be made to your ERP and CRM. And just as importantly, when you update your ERP, say you're going from Dynamics Nav to Business Central, or you're making an update in Dynamicweb, neither solution is impacted by the updates of each other. And so if you're updating your ERP and you have downtime, your e-commerce site can still be running and that data can be pushed over once it's back up. We integrate with virtually any data point in your ERP and CRM. And it could be anything from sales orders and quotes, order history and reordering, invoice payments. We've designed a custom invoice payment center that gives a visual idea of how much credit you have left and how much, what your current balances are and how close you are to paying that off. Integrating with your master product IDs, your customer specific pricing in your ERP system, customer details and demographic details, their name, obviously, company name and things like that. And then even other data points that may not traditionally be integrated into e-commerce, we can connect to as well to help design those custom business processes in the portal that are often common in the B2B world. So some of the trusted companies that trust us are shown here. You can see there's a wide range of both B2C and B2B. Not all of these are e-commerce implementations either. A lot of them are unique use cases for portals where, let's say there's a dealer network that they need to provide product information to, or maybe the dealer needs to place orders through this portal for special products that aren't available to the general public. You could also have a B2B and B2C environment on the same platform. So if you're a B2B type of customer, when you log in, you're shown things that only your dealers can access, such as spare parts or replacement parts that are held for those who are certified in making these repairs, while a customer might log in and only see whole units that are available to purchase as a consumer and have shipped to them potentially. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Jasmine here so she can show us a quick demo of the Dynamicweb platform. Promise not to take up too much more of your time. Just want to show you what some of these things look like in the back end and front end of Dynamicweb. So with that said, Jasmine, please go ahead and take it away.
Alrighty, thank you. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep, sure can.
Perfect. So here we are on a Dynamicweb demo solution. You can see here that this site is created around the mountain bike industry. So you'll see mountain bike pictures, products on this demo site related to mountain bikes. As we scroll down the screen, you'll see that this is a more modern design. All of our sites are also responsive. And we'll go ahead and jump into some products now. So here we are on the product list page. On this page, you'll see products to the right and the facets and filters to the left. Sorry about that, the page is loading here.
Well, it wouldn't be a live demo if there wasn't a loading problem.
Sorry about that. There we are.
Okay.
Thank you. Alrighty. So here we are on the product list page. You can see here that we have facets and filters to the left. These are based on the specs of the products to the right. We'll go ahead and jump into a product. I also want to highlight on this page, we do have a grid view of products to the left. We also support a list view. However, the grid view is becoming more and more popular as customers are used to this view when shopping with the larger picture and less product information. However, we do support the inverse of that with more product information and a smaller picture to the right of the facets. Here on the product page, we see we have the pictures of the products, and to the right we have the product name, product number, product price. Majority of this is going to be pulled from the ERP, and as we look below that, we'll see the product description or teaser text. This can also be brought over from the ERP. However, if it's not available, you have full flexibility to enrich this information in the back end. Below there, you see some of the specs that were driving those facets on the front page. We can support these in the back end of Dynamicweb also if they're not available in the ERP. I also want to highlight what is live information on this page. So directly below the add to cart button, you see stock availability, and above the teaser text, you see price. These are going to be live calls to the ERP, and they bring over real-time pricing. In addition to if the customer is logged in, we'll also see customer-specific pricing or quantity pricing as well. In addition to if there's inventory based on location, if a customer is only able to order from a specific location, we can show that location's inventory status as well. And then as we scroll down, you'll see highlights of the product. And then we have additional specs on this page as well. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into our customer service portal. This is where the customer can manage their information related to their account. So as a customer logs in, they can see their profile addresses and so on. This allows for the customer to be able to manage this information without having to call into a customer service representative. And they can view and update changes here. In addition to viewing past orders, from this past orders page, they can see all of the orders that they've placed in the past, in addition to order details. Tracking information is available here as well. And if a customer is interested in reordering a specific order, they can do that simply by pressing the reorder link here. Going to go back to the customer service portal. Here you also see quotes if a customer submits a quote at checkout. Save credit cards, reoccurring orders are another feature that our system allows for. If a customer is in the checkout page and realize that they want to place that order on reoccurring order on a specific cycle, maybe once a month, once every 2 weeks, they can set up those settings in the checkout page and view those reoccurring orders here. As you can see, this customer has quite a few reoccurring orders and they're on a monthly basis. Directly below the reoccurring orders, we also have RMAs. These are return requests where customers can submit a return request simply by choosing the order that the item is on and the reason for the return, the item that they're returning, and then submitting that as a return request. That will initiate a workflow. It doesn't actually process the return. Directly below here, you'll see we also have the ability to highlight invoices, and I'll show you our new invoice management center. This invoice management center also allows for customers to pay on invoice. So you'll see here in this top row, customers can see where their invoice management center stands at a glance, how much they owe for a given month, the remaining due, the credit used, and credit remaining. And as they scroll down, they can see the specific invoices. They can choose the invoice and then pay on that invoice simply by choosing the invoice they'd like to pay on. And then they can view closed invoices. So these are invoices that have been completely paid off and are closed out. They also have the ability to view the invoice details. So on the invoice details page, they can see an itemized list similar to the orders view of what was purchased on that invoice. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into the back end of Dynamicweb. So here in the back end is where we're going to manage the front end experience of the website, where we're managing the content, where we also handle the product information on the website under the e-commerce module. Then we also have the PIM module, which handles product information in greater detail and also allows us to send out those products to multiple channels. And then lastly, we have our marketing module. The rest of these to the left also support those main 4 modules of content, e-commerce, PIM, and marketing. We're going to start here in content. So you can see here, this is a visual editor. It allows for us to edit the content on the page from a visual aspect where we can click on the given containers or columns that we want to edit, and we can make the changes here real time, submit the changes, and they are reflected on the front end of the website real time. This information is managed in the format of rows and columns. So you'll see here, this is our first row of content. It's comprised of 2 columns, 1, 2, and we can swap out these columns with different widgets and different templates here to the left. So you'll see here, these are pre-templated rows that we can drag over to the screen and further edit here as well. And then we can also build our own empty rows and columns by grabbing an empty row here, depending on the makeup of the row. And then once we've dragged over an empty row, we can jump into our widgets. We can choose from this long list of widget options, very typical content like quotes, headings, videos, pictures, maps. Or we can also choose from our pre-templated columns and kind of drag those over into those empty boxes as well. Under the content module is where we also handle our PDFs or downloadable documents. We create those here in the content module. We also design our email marketing campaigns here in the content module as well. And we've created them under the newsletters tab so we can show a given campaign. And in just a moment, we'll show you how we pull these campaigns into our email marketing module and send them out to specific customers. Next, we're going to jump into e-commerce. So this is where we can view a product in the back end and edit the content here. You'll see we have that product name, product number, pricing, and stock availability and points. This is all majorly pulled over from the ERP. As we mentioned, you can edit the teaser text, description, manage pictures, as well as those specs are available here to enrich brand logo, and then we also have the meta data and information here at the bottom where it can be updated here in the back end. Next, we're going to jump into the PIM. The PIM is where we manage product information similar to the e-commerce module. However, here we can send products out to different channels. For example, it can support the e-commerce site, but it also can support Amazon, eBay, Best Buy, and then we can also use third parties like Channable to allow for us to send out products through the third party and then also receive information back. For example, if an order has been placed, we can update inventory by using a third party like Channable. The PIM is primarily used, as I mentioned, for managing product information, and we do that through workflows. Workflows are a process or steps to enriching products fully. So you'll see here we've created an example of a workflow where products come in to the PIM from the ERP, and they are newly arrived products. After that, they go into technical details. So this would be step 2 of our workflow, where we can enrich product information like specs that we saw on the front end of the site. Then products can go to the product manager where we can handle variants. So one given product having multiple variants, for example, color and size, both of those being variants associated with the product. You can see here this orange jersey has color options, but the color options also have sizes. So we can handle variants in the back end of the PIM as well. And then marketing is where we jump in and we can fully enrich the product details in addition to being able to handle multiple languages. So you can see here as I scroll to the right, we have multiple language variations for the same product. Product images, everything can be translated in this table format. And then we also have the ready for enrichment and then ultimately publishing, where we'll choose the products that we are ready to publish and then send them out to the given channel. And once we send them out, we have to send them to the associated category, and then the products are fully published to the given channel. So here, if we jump into Amazon under helmets, we see those 2 helmets that we just published, and now they're sent through the Amazon channel. Lastly, we have marketing. Marketing is where we handle our email marketing piece, but it's also where our smart search capability is housed. The smart search capability allows for me to search through customers to find a specific group of customers based on maybe their behaviors on the site or even their customer information in the ERP. So if I want to build a specific customer group, I can create these queries to pull through specific customers. So I can grab customers in a specific country, customers that behaved a certain way on the website, for example, maybe viewed a certain product. And then I can even grab customers that maybe haven't visited the website in a given amount of time. So now we're able to target customers in maybe the US that bought a helmet and haven't logged into the website in maybe the past 6 months, and we have a new updated model of that helmet. Now we can build a marketing campaign in our content module, send that marketing email to this specific group of customers that this query would pull through. Once the emails are sent out, we also are able to see the results of the campaigns. So if we jump into here, we can see once the campaign is sent out, the success of the campaign and all the stats and statistics around it. Now I'll go ahead and hand it back over to Brad to see if there are any questions.
And I will hand it back to Angie to host us for the Q&A.
Yes, we do have a couple questions that have come through. If anybody has any additional questions, please go ahead and get them into the questions box. So the first one is, does Dynamicweb integrate with other PIM systems? We already have a PIM system called Perfion.
Yes, definitely. So Dynamicweb does come with a built-in PIM solution, but that is extremely useful for companies that may not have an e-commerce strategy. It's their first e-commerce platform, and they quickly realize that a PIM is almost needed to start selling on all these different channels efficiently. So we do include a built-in PIM in our solution, but that said, a lot of companies also already have a PIM solution in place, such as Perfion. So in those cases, we do integrate with just about every other existing PIM solution out there. So you could use your Perfion to push your product information to your Dynamicweb store.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And the next one is, can we hide products on the website behind a login?
Yes, definitely. So there's two different approaches to e-commerce. Sometimes, especially in a B2B environment, you can only actually access the product storefront or the portal through a login after you've been verified in some form. So definitely, we have a lot of cases where the website itself is mainly a content website until the user logs in, and then it becomes an e-commerce storefront, or they gain access to a portal in addition to that promotional front-end website. And you could also, in addition to that, have different experiences for different logins. So if you classify somebody as maybe a partner in your ERP, when they log into Dynamicweb, you can show them just partner-related products or information that they need. And if a customer logged in, they might have more of a classic customer experience with your whole units shown on the storefront. So you can have two totally different custom experiences depending on who's logging into your site. Another good question.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like that those two were the only questions that came through. If anybody has any additional questions, please feel free to contact Brad and his team, or you can contact your account manager here at Innovia Consulting.
Yep.
So I just want to thank Brad and Jasmine for the presentation today.
Thank you so much for hosting us, Angie. We had a great time hopping on here with you, and thank you so much for everybody who took time out of your schedules to join us today. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. And also thank you for everyone who's on today, or if you're watching on demand, we thank you for taking the time out to join us. And just a couple of reminders, on our website, we do have more of our upcoming events, and that's at innovia.com/events. And we do have our training workshop page up. That's innovia.com/workshops. We have a variety of workshops to fit your role, so check out the ones that are right for you and your team. We do have the full catalog, so look through that and see if there is one that you would like to request for an upcoming date. And don't forget about our Innovia Conversation podcast. We have a library of podcast episodes for you to listen to, and you can learn more on our podcast page, and that's innovia.com/podcast. So browse the selection and subscribe so you'll get notified when those new episodes air. And don't forget to check out our conference page. We have our Dynamics Con Live coming up in September. There is a discount code out there for you to use, so make sure you visit our conference page at innovia.com/conferences. All right, well, again, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Brad and Jasmine, for the presentation, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Innovia webinar. Take care, everyone.